Joe? Rolling.
Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1503, March 13th, 2025. 67 degrees on that marvelous spring of 2012. 9 below on this day in 1895. And on this day in 2006, 10 inches of snow.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Haidt in the newsroom, and of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Souchere.
Hi, everybody. How are you? Huh?
Those were the first words you ever uttered as a podcast.
Hi, everybody. I have a very interesting Nordic wear note. We've been talking about Nordic wear. One guy wondered, how many bundt pans would you need,
Well, there's different shapes and sizes and all sorts of different
Well, from
products.
Rockford, Illinois, Jennifer Zender writes, I was just making some cookies and took a quick look at my cookie sheet. Nordic Ware not only makes bundt pans, they also make cookie sheet, jelly roll pans. See the attached photo. Zoom in on the bottom where you can see Nordic Ware. I love my Nordic Ware baking sheets. A jelly roll pan is just a normal cookie sheet. It's just larger by a few inches. I think we are safe to conclude that Trump hates cookies and bundt cakes. Always pushing back, Jennifer Zenda in Rockford, Illinois. Thank you.
Well, I do think that Nordic Ware should get the word out by using me as an endorsee for their product.
I don't know that would be possible. Well, we have a number of that's why Trump got elected. You ready, Chris?
And that is why Trump got elected.
Well, first I have to do it. We have a mental health. We have a transgender person on the Mental Health Consumer Advisory Council in Oregon. That's fine. I mean, what are you going to do? And the name of this person is J.D. Terrapin. And the pronouns are they, them, and turtle. And this person is transgender and sits on the Oregon Consumer Advisory Council, which advises decisions about mental health care services in the state. It's a 21-person panel. It's a she, apparently, a licensed counselor specializing in drug addiction. With the pronouns they, them, and turtle.
Terrapin generally refers to a type of small, semi-aquatic turtle.
That's right. The person's name is J.D. Holt, but she uses they, them, and turtle. She's in the Springfield, Eugene. No, he's in the Springfield, Eugene area.
I like turtles.
That's right. He says that a lot. And there's a photo of J.D. here. And I just think, for mental health, that would be quite a sit down, wouldn't it, with someone who identifies as a turtle is counseling you about your mental needs. I find a disconnect there.
That'd be fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
But Turtle has given me a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
I have always felt, and I'm the only one, that my nickname should be The Voice. And I would prefer if you all called me The Voice. Of course, you laugh in my face and think that's a stupid idea.
Yes.
Now, if I
Very much
name
so.
that as one of my pronouns, you would be forced to refer to me as The Voice.
Well, you think I might be forced to, but I really wouldn't be.
What we would call you, what was your nickname?
The Pelican.
Yeah,
That's right, the
Pelican.
Pelican.
That's your pronoun, the Pelican.
And that's why Trump got elected.
And that is why Trump got elected.
I just, this person might be a genius, the turtle, but
Actually, wait a minute. Rookie's been doing it to us since the 80s. We've been referring to him as his pronoun, the Rook.
Wow.
Rookie, you've been hoodwinking us this whole time.
I have.
in an example that demonstrates the urgency to crack down on reckless government spending, the federal agency that runs the nation's scandal-plagued food stamp program has given a public, historically black university over $500,000 to study menstrual cycles in transgender men and people with masculine gender identities.
And that is why Trump got elected.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture, who played a prominent role in the food fraud, by the way, because the idiots in that building in Washington, it didn't occur to them that Minnesota was setting food feeding records. The U.S. Department of Agriculture had long rocked by fraud and corruption in its $112 billion food stamp program, awarded the $600,000 grant to Southern University A&M in Baton Rouge last spring, and the money is scheduled to flow through the spring of 2027. After explaining that a woman will have a monthly menstrual cycle for about 40 years of her life, the USDA grant document states that it is also important to recognize that transgender men and people with masculine gender identities, intersex, and non-binary persons may also menstruate.
Okay, they must be referring to, and I'm sorry if I'm being thick-headed here, women that have transitioned to being men,
I don't
right?
know. I don't know.
But then I would, Joe, maybe wrongly assume that don't they take hormones that would prevent them from menstruating, or no?
I'm just going to be focused. That's out of my league there. I'm going to be focused on the money going to such a preposterous thing. If men are menstruating, good luck to you. Get some help, but I don't want to pay for it. I don't want to pay for somebody named Turtle in a mental health advisory
I like
role.
turtles.
I know you do.
Turtle.
The list of scandalous awards goes on and on. The National Institutes of Health allotted a private research university in Massachusetts $700,000 to study social media and substance abuse risk and resilience among gender minority emerging adults.
And that is why Trump got elected.
The DOD, what's that, Department of Defense?
Yep.
Dispersed nearly $350,000 in contracts to research reports on undermining authoritarian regimes using gender.
And that is why Trump got elected.
The USDA also doled out around $230,000 to a Brazil forest and gender consultant.
And that is why Trump got elected.
And the State Department spent nearly $25,000 to premiere a play in which women speak about their vaginas in the Gujarati language in India, as well as $22,000 to train 50 LGBTQI refugees in Kenya on barbering, hairdressing, beauty, therapy, cosmetology, food production, and computer programming.
And that is why Trump got elected.
The agency also spent $2,315 to teach English to professional transgender women makeup entrepreneurs in Nepal.
And that is why Trump got elected.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Having said all that, Elon's still bad, Doge still bad.
No, a Doge is necessary.
Okay.
Here's what I would have done if I was Trump. Here's the problem Trump is running into. He's a cyclone of activity. He's I think much of what he instinctively understands, like we shouldn't be paying for makeup artists in Nepal. But that's pocket change compared to the stuff he's after. I suppose he's acting like a cyclone because he realizes there's so much to do and there's only 4 years. But what I would have done, I would have just done it agency by agency, and maybe there just wouldn't have been time to do it that way. But I would have come into office with the promises I made the American public. Look, there's a lot of waste and fraud here. I'm going to find it. And just he could have picked an agency and started with it. Well, I'm going to start with United States aid to industrial developing countries, USAID or whatever that thing is. And then take care of that. Skim her down, thin her out, weed her out.
4 years times
No, I don't know how long that would take. Then, okay, now I'm moving on to the Department of Education. But he's doing it all at once while at the same time juggling tariffs and trying to negotiate a war. He's doing too much at once.
Isn't that what's necessary, though?
Well, I'm pointing out to you how I think I would have done it differently.
Why do you have a problem with how he's doing it?
Because I don't think it'll work.
Oh, you don't? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
But does he have 4 years?
What do you mean?
Well,
yeah, that's how long a presidential term is.
I'm very aware of that. My point is,
don't please.
the point of control that they have currently, it's only for the next 2, and Elon only has 130 days in which he can actually work for the government.
Well, then maybe he goes out the side door, comes in another door, and they rehire him for another 130
But I think
days.
that's the basis upon which they're acting with such ferocity, is the fact that Elon can only work for 130 days.
Okay, and I'm telling you it's being done so quickly that I'm not sure they'll accomplish anything.
You're worried nothing's going to stick.
Well, it's too fast. It's it's
Do
too
you have
fast.
any evidence to prove that?
Absolutely none.
But I'm outraged.
Come on, man. You could have lied about something. I just want to, let us talk, Joe.
Let me back Joe up here. There have been judges coming out with decisions. Like the USDA had to reinstate, 13,000 employees this week because that they fired immediately, and now they had to be restated because everything went too fast and they didn't do what they were supposed to do, due diligence to get rid of the employees. And that's happened at, half a dozen things already. So
There's not a doubt in my mind that is a swamp. There's not a doubt in my mind that it's full of corruption and redundancy and waste. And there's not a doubt in my mind that it's all too big and multi-layered. There's not a doubt in my mind that the buck never stops anywhere. But if you look at it that way, that problem is so massive that Trump, who tends to carry his own, he's a bull who tends to bring his China shop with him wherever he goes. I'm not sure it can be accomplished. My hat's tipped off to him for trying. Much of that needs to be done, but his way of approaching it has been the cyclonic way, just to everything all at once.
Do I dare use the phrase scorched earth?
Yeah, it's a scorched earth policy, and those often, just a side thought that's random and has nothing to do with anything, except it has a lot to do with everything. If Trump fails in his presidency, there won't be a Republican in this country who will ever get elected again. Because just think of the ammunition opponents would have at their disposal to point out the Trump years, and I just don't see a Republican ever. I mean, if he fails, it'll be spectacularly because he does everything spectacularly.
Tremendous.
So if he fails spectacularly, that leaves a rocky road for any future Republicans. So there's a lot riding on this.
And I think that also includes middle of the road, or as they call them, rhino Republicans, moderate Republicans. It includes everybody. We could go back to what John brought up with USDA.
yeah.
Elon also did that when he bought Twitter. He made a few moves like that where he had to go back and correct his early moves. And aren't we seeing that kind of with Trump's tariffs? There was some backstepping with the steel being imported from Canada recently.
I can't tell the role Musk is playing in the tariff world.
No. I'm talking about in general, where these cuts that they're making in some areas, we're seeing it being corrected almost immediately. And wouldn't you expect that in all aspects of these cuts?
Yes.
Where we're going to find, well, it turns out we do need to do that, or we do need these people, et cetera, et cetera.
You know, I guess I'll amend my statement. The problem is so massive that maybe the only way to go about it is cyclonically, like a cyclone. Maybe that's it. Maybe if you might be able to spend 4 years on the Department of Education. You might be able to spend 4 years on the Department of Energy. You might be able to spend 4 years on the Department of Agriculture. Who was sitting in the Department of Agriculture that was so stupid they're complicit in the food fraud in Minnesota? Because they would get a request for these outrageous amounts of money, and apparently they never asked any questions.
And that is why Trump got elected.
As far as tariffs go, have any of us on the program ever researched the tariffs that the United States has to pay to get our goods into their countries? It'd be fun to see.
Do we have to pay tariffs to get our goods into Canada?
Yes.
Yeah. I think all countries.
All negotiated by the last Trump administration.
Oh, really? There weren't any that were during Biden's run?
No, they did the whole deal in 2018, 2019.
For the entire globe, really?
For Canada.
Just for Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah. I that's out of my pay grade. I don't know anything about it. I shouldn't even bring it up.
Can I add one more thing to Joe's idea?
Why not?
Say you take, let's say the USDA, okay? You're going to clean this up. Say they'd have just taken it and started with that. Instead of having these nebulous figures that Doge is throwing out with no reason, we wasted $33 million, but they don't give a reason why. They just say we wasted it. Say we had a little chart telling why they wasted it. Wouldn't that make people who are on the fence go, oh, I see, well, this is happening. Well, let's continue to do this. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? 'Cause
Provide
now
evidence.
it's also nebulous and weird that there's a lot of it has no information, a lot of it has no proof. The numbers are thrown out there with absolutely no backing. But if you saw something, you might go, yeah, okay, great, let's move forward here. Let's keep going.
I think you're right. That's probably why everybody's so wary about this.
But given the glacier-like movement of the federal bureaucracy, can you imagine? I mean, could you even
We see that list in 3 years from now.
I mean, it might take you 4 years.
One department.
It might take you 4 years to streamline the USDA.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. Are we back to the cyclone being okay?
I don't know if it's okay, but I bet instinctively that's maybe why he's doing it that way.
Yeah.
Because it's just such a massive mess. Our government is so massive, and that's one of the problems in Minnesota. By the way, I should tell you that Tim has really said some interesting things on MSNBC.
Oh, your guy?
Yeah.
Walzy?
Your guy.
Just really interesting stuff. I want to get to that in a moment. But I want to tell you that if you want to avoid some of what we talk about, it's possibly, to avoid it in Sioux Falls. It's possibly. Sioux Falls, 290,000 people and growing, with a great, hard-working workforce, most popular city to move to in the country, according to top10.com, and one of the 50 best places to live in the country for families, according to Fortune magazine. But best of all, if you're looking to relocate your business, maybe add on to your business, or start completely new. In South Dakota, there's no state corporate or personal income tax, no inheritance tax, and no limits to what your business can achieve, and entrepreneurs are welcome. I like the part about it's one of the best places to raise a family and one of the best small cities for Gen Z workers. Find out everything you need at one word, SiouxFallsDevelopment.com.
And who spends hours in hardware stores sifting through the nuts and bolts of life. Joe Souchere.
Suchi Boy. His close friends call him Suchi Boy. Today is your lucky day. Turn off the radio, pause the podcast, desert your wife and family, and get to downtown Minneapolis. It is now open. The 2025 Northwest Sports Show, open at the Convention Center, running through Sunday. And today, if you're over 60, today is your day. That means you get in not half price, free. If you're over 60, bring your ID, show them that ID. Walk in there like you own the joint. You'll see all the newest in fishing and outdoor gear and equipment. It's all going to be on display. You can try it and buy it. You can sit in that RV and picture yourself in the backyard of your kid's cabin up in the North Woods, avoiding all family at all costs. Yeah, you can do that.
Hey, I think we're showing a film of it, Kenny.
Yeah,
I think I just saw Amy Bach trying to pickpocket somebody.
Now that's a side event. They're not promoting that one. They are promoting guests having seminars doing the latest in hunting and fishing and recreation. Friday night fish fry comes tomorrow. We're talking a 4-piece walleye dinner with fries. That's while supplies last, so get up there first in line. These are fine walleye now, not those janky carp from Full to Lake.
Ain't no smoked carp.
Nope. Admission, 15 for adults, 13 for kids, ages under 12 are free. But here's the deal. You can still do this. I think Reavers, we do tickets on your phone, right? I think that's a thing nowadays with, technology and stuff. GLers can save $4 per ticket by using code GARAGE at northwestsportshow.com. It's running through Sunday. It's at the Convention Center in downtown Minneapolis. It's the Northwest Sports Show.
Tim Walz was on MSNBC. He doesn't go on any show where he might face a critic. I would imagine he would find MSNBC friendly.
Favorable.
And he slammed President Trump for creating economic chaos. He did this yesterday. But he also blamed himself and Kamala Harris on an MSNBC interview. Walz told host Chris Hayes that Trump was the worst possible business executive that I have ever witnessed. He also thanked the Wall Street Journal for its scathing editorial on Trump's tariff war. He said it could help spur the Democratic Minnesota governor's GOP constituents to rethink their support of Trump. I think Americans have had it, Walz said. Look, I own this. We wouldn't be in this mess if it wasn't for me and Harris.
Wow.
No, he actually said we wouldn't be in this mess if we would have won. Right. We'd be in a completely different kind of mess, but you're right. But the president's turbulent second term could generate a Democratic comeback, Walz said. We have to make sure that Americans know it's not just that Donald Trump is bad, but we're offering them something better, he continued. And I think that's what we need to work on. So to refresh, Walz says we wouldn't be in this mess if he and Harris had won. All right. Yeah.
Would you like to hear from
I
Governor
would.
Walz?
Yeah.
Business president, he is the worst possible business executive that I have ever witnessed. And I hope, this is what we need. I need the business community to speak up. The Wall Street Journal, thank you. Thank you for saying this is the stupidest trade war, because I've been saying it. And so now I can go back to my constituents, Republican constituents, and say, this is the reality of what you're facing. So, again, there is going to be pain. The richness of a sitting senator like Tommy Tuberville or Elon Musk telling us we're going to have to endure pain. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I think Americans have had it. I hope they've had it. And now we just need to do what we can do to make the case. And I own this. We wouldn't be in this mess if we'd have won the election. And we didn't. We have to make sure that Americans know it's not just that Donald Trump is bad, but we're offering them something better. And I think that's what we need to work on.
Let me ask you about that.
Thanks, Tim.
That is funny.
We didn't.
How do you spell that?
DINT. We didn't win.
Do you think in that MSNBC interview a question was brought up of Tim Walz and the Democratic leadership of the state of Minnesota powering through an $18 billion surplus, now having a $6 billion deficit?
None of the faults that Walz has committed have ever been brought up none were brought up during the campaign.
Do you think, Joe, that in that MSNBC interview with Governor Tim Walz, it was brought up that we've had the most corrupt fraud in the history of the country?
It's never brought up.
Oh, okay.
One person criticized them from a former Democratic National Committee official named Lindy Lee, or Lie, L-I.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, but she was on Newsmax and responding to what Tim had said on Politico when he said we weren't aggressive enough and they didn't go to enough interviews. Here's her quote. I met Tim Walz on a number of occasions, and obviously I've spent extensive time with Kamala Harris. The reason why they were hiding from the media is because she sucks at it. I'm sorry that I'm not putting it more eloquently, but she was just terrible. They were both terrible. And they put out Tim Walz. I don't know who thought he was a good idea.
They didn't want to waste a good guy that had a future.
Yeah, I think that speculation on your part might be spot on. Seems like it.
Tesla, the most valuable automaker in the world, valued at over $1 trillion, did not pay any federal income tax last year. Tesla's annual financial report released, this is from January. That's fine. That was just a month ago. Tesla's annual financial report shows the company enjoyed $2.3 billion of U.S. income in 2024, on which it reported precisely zero current federal income tax. Over the past 3 years, the Elon Musk-led company reported $10.8 billion of U.S. income, on which its current federal tax was just $48 million. That comes to a 3-year federal tax rate of just 0.4%. More than 50 times less than the statutory corporate tax rate of 21%. So what have we said? You're either in the game or you're not?
Right.
Mm-hmm. We're not in the game because we're paying taxes. Tesla's in the game because they're not paying taxes. Now, how do you think they did this? It's all legal.
Well,
it's all legal.
It's all legal because those laws were on the books that the lawmakers had. He was just
because they write the tax laws.
He was smart enough to take advantage of it.
That's what happens. And then the senators and Congress people maintain their grip on power by pretending to be upset at people like Musk, even though they wrote the laws that allows this to happen.
And are equally benefiting.
Right. So here's how he does it, apparently. Tesla saved $500 million in taxes last year using accelerated depreciation. Okay, let's just break this down. You'd have to ask your friend Linda.
Linda Keller, KellerTaxService.com.
Do we as individuals have anything we can accelerate the appreciation on?
Yeah, you can use real assets.
Well, so can I say my house is falling apart?
No, but let's say you have a rental property.
I don't.
Well, but if you did, that's something you could absolutely do.
Let's keep that out of it. Most people don't have rental property.
All right.
Most don't.
Yes.
Most are just people who have a job and make a salary. Okay, they have nothing they can depreciate in an accelerated fashion.
I do, or I did when I was playing in a band.
Yeah.
Everything that I bought every year, I would claim, and then every year I could claim depreciation on it.
Okay.
So as its value went down, those losses I could claim.
Okay.
Well, I can't now because I'm not playing any money doing it.
And that didn't amount to a lot of money, but it was the same idea that Musk has here.
Yes, and it took care of whatever I was making playing in band. So if I made $3,000 one year, basically I could write down all this stuff, the depreciation, and boom.
So, Rook, what are these earphones worth?
$19.99.
Okay, these are $19.99, and they wear out over the year.
Yes.
I guess I could take depreciation on the portion of $19.99 that falters over the course of the show.
True.
So I used to be in a position like Chris said, and I had all these assets and depreciation and whatnot. And when I would get my tax return, I would spend a whole bunch of money on my rental property in order to not have to pay extra taxes on the income that I earned, if that makes any sense, right? So come tax time, I'd end up flat, zero. Now that I no longer have rental property, I make money from the feds. Of course, I take that money and I pay it to the state of Minnesota, so I'm still coming out at zero. But
all right, just listen. Everybody, shut up. Linda.
Sure. Hi.
Joe has a question for you.
Is this Linda Keller, the tax specialist?
KellerTaxService.com. Book your appointment today. Don't delay.
Don't swear, Linda.
I promise.
Hey, Linda, Musk didn't pay any taxes on, didn't pay federal, Tesla, I'm sorry, not Musk. Tesla did not pay any taxes on a $2.3 billion U.S. income in 2024. And, of course, it's all legal. And I'll read you this. Tesla saved $500 million in taxes last year using accelerated depreciation. Okay, most of us can't do that, can we?
Not unless you have assets that are depreciable, like a rental property or something like that.
Yeah.
Most of us don't.
Well, a lot of people have businesses, small businesses. So if they own property in a small business, those things would be eligible for accelerated depreciation. So even like side hustles, people depreciate things all the time. But your own personal assets or residence, no, that's not going to be something you could depreciate.
So you can't depreciate the value of your car?
No, not things that we use for just personal use, no.
He also got tax breaks, or Tesla got tax breaks for executive stock options. That was another $250 million savings. Most of us can't do that either, right?
Well, I mean, he's in a position to give himself that instead of like a salary or something like that. But yeah, I mean, most of us aren't giving those kinds of things out to, unless you're a business owner.
Unspecified U.S. tax credits were good for $300 million of tax savings. I don't know what that means. He also used net operating losses to offset current year income. I suppose that's fairly common.
That actually was going to be something I was going to say. He probably ran losses for many years in the early years of Tesla that he wasn't able to use because of other money that he made. And so those losses can come into play when he finally makes a profit. Then you can start offsetting those losses.
When a professional like yourself looks at a story like this, you're really not surprised, are you? The laws are really fashioned for people like Musk.
Well, I guess I'm not surprised that people kind of get slanted ideas about it because, you know, I don't feel like he did anything wrong. He used the laws in his favor, obviously, but that's not something that it's exclusive to him.
No, I understand.
Yeah, I mean, I'd get my clients the same deal.
Well, absolutely.
If they had that.
Right.
I have an angle I've been thinking about, Linda. What if I turn myself into a turnip farmer? Wait a minute. Don't laugh.
Okay.
Because I think this will work. I think, what's the minimum acreage I need to be a farmer? 5 acres?
Oh, there's no minimum. There's no minimum. You just have to be, the intent is to grow agriculture or some sort of, you know, livestock product, you know, whatever your intent is to, you know, have a profit from that someday, but that doesn't mean you can't have legitimate losses in the meantime, trying to get it going and those kinds of things.
Plus, when I go to Fleet Farm, they ask me if this is for farming, and I say yes, and then they don't charge me sales tax. Is that also correct?
That I don't know about. I'm definitely not a sales tax expert.
Okay.
Thank you, Linda.
Linda, one final question. Joe was talking about real assets. Let's just say, I don't know, you're a guy that has an old British car and it leaks oil all over the place. Are you able to use that as a tax credit?
No, she already said you can't use your car.
Oh,
all right.
Not unless you rent your car out to people. If you wanted to try and make money, like renting it to people, if you tried to make money with it.
No, I'm not.
Let me take it for a spin.
I'd love to rent that thing for a weekend. You got 4 clients right here, Joe.
Thank you, Linda.
Take care.
All right, thanks,
Linda.
See you, Linda.
That's why she's the best.
So you got people in this country like Musk and we need them. We need rich people to employ people, and that's all great. He makes cars, so does Ford and Stellantis and Chevy. Okay, I get all that. But what they have are lobbyists and tremendous connections to help manufacture the kinds of tax laws that benefit them. Okay, that's who you voted for. You voted for these people who write the tax laws. It's the only ones who don't have this are us, which is why I say you're either in the game or you're not in the game, and most of us are not in the game.
But you heard her say, well, I would advise my clients do the exact same thing Elon's doing, right?
I get it. I get it. You don't have to keep saying that. I get it. But the difference between you and Elon is not able to be discerned. You with a rental property is not the same as Musk with his tax breaks. That's just not the same.
It's not.
Not.
Oh.
So get that out of your head.
Hey, let it go.
I think we should just turn this, it sounds to me what you want to do, Joe, is turn this podcast into an anarchy podcast and just overthrow everything.
I'm sure there's one out there available on the
I'm
vast
sure
and
there
ever-expanding.
is, yes.
Congress might give Tesla even more tax breaks. This is according to the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy.
Wow.
A bill passed by the House of Representatives in the previous Congress would have retroactively reinstated a provision allowing a full expensing of research and development expenses, which could save the company up to $2.4 billion in taxes. Who's our tax guy? Dan
Pilla?
Pilla. He's probably tearing his hair out listening to this, saying, why didn't you call me?
Dan just emailed Joe.
Well, because Linda advertises with us.
Plus, she does mine and John's and Chris's.
Yep.
No, the point is that you got a guy racing around Washington wearing his hat indoors who's trimming the hell out of the government, which we all want, but it's a guy it's not unlike when Trump in the debate with Hillary, who's the comedian I really like?
Probably Shane Gillis, wasn't it?
No, Dave Chappelle.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That was a Chappelle bit.
Dave Chappelle does a great, it's not even a bit. He said, I came to my senses about Trump because I've never seen I'm paraphrasing, I've never seen a white businessman say what he said. And he was expressing some degree of appreciation for Trump. And he said, I'm watching the debate between Trump and Hillary. Again, I'm all paraphrasing. And Hillary was criticizing Trump for his lack of paying taxes. And Chappelle, as only he can, does the great double take and says, Trump actually said, I'm following the rules exactly as you wrote them, and so are all of the friends of yours who contribute to your campaign. And of course, she was just silent. She couldn't, because he was telling the truth. I follow the tax laws that you people have written. Well, that's if you're in the game or you're not.
And Chappelle said, what do you mean by you people?
No.
Oh.
He's in the game. Trump's in the game. Musk is in the game. Chappelle is in the game. You think Chappelle doesn't have 5 accountants?
100%.
I mean, you're in the game.
I want to bring up one aspect of this that was just brought up on our YouTube page by Lori. She says that the depreciation. I'll start over. The depreciating tax asset break encourages companies to put profits into expanding and upgrading their businesses. This trickles down to benefiting the workforce.
In theory, I can see that. You have a big bench press machine with a drilling capacity, and you want to buy a new one, so you get to depreciate the old one and then buy the new one, and people are employed creating the new one.
And that is why Trump got elected.
Here's what we see with these farmers nowadays that are doing 5,000 acres and more. At the end of harvest, they've got a giant check With that check, they pay off their operating loan that they took out early in the year. Then they have all this profit. In order to not get taxed on that profit, they buy more assets, combines, grain trailers, et cetera, bringing that number almost down to zero.
Mm-hmm. Well, good for them.
Yeah.
I wish we had a tax situation in the country that was printed on one piece of paper, one page, one piece of paper that applied to everybody. That wouldn't diminish the development of an Elon Musk in this world. It just would mean that Elon Musk would be paying far more in taxes.
Are you saying like a flat tax? Is that what you're suggesting?
I don't know. You know what? Because I'm in over my pay grade. I don't know. Whoa. You saw it forming,
that
didn't
was
you?
almost the big one.
He saw the word forming.
Yes.
I didn't. I don't know. I take my grocery bag of stuff to a guy and have my taxes done.
And
That's
I can
what I know.
say I knew what was about to follow because I've only heard you say that word about 700 trillion times. So.
Well, my point
Today
is
alone.
No, that.
Yeah.
Well, you ought to be very grateful for my ability to self-edit.
Yeah, okay. Tell that to the fathers that you visit every Saturday night that are listening right now.
What the hell is he talking about? I don't know. What fathers?
I don't know what their names are. You're the ones that go to church.
The fathers.
Priests.
Fathers.
Well, every
pastors,
priest I know swears more
reverends.
than I do.
Oopsie.
You know.
Why don't we take a break and bring back the newsman?
I know she got a few minutes, but let's give her another plug. It's Linda Keller and KellerTaxService.com.
What I wanted to say, somebody brought up, Linda can do taxes for anybody in any state in the union.
Yep, absolutely. She does all types of returns for all types of people. It doesn't matter whether you're filing married, jointly, if you've got a business in some cases, and it doesn't matter where you live. She will be able to take care of. Well, okay. If you live in China, that might be a different story.
Okay.
But if you live in the U.S., Linda Keller will be able to take care of you. And here's the deal. We're getting to crunch time here. We're about a month away from tax filing season. So get in touch with our friend Linda Keller and KellerTaxService.com. The website is up and running. If you go on that website, you can also see all of the new tax information and certain tax tips that are available to you online. But check out the website. It's really, really cool. And you can book your appointment today. Linda Keller and KellerTaxService.com. Make sure that you mention that you heard about her on the Garage Logic podcast.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
I don't know what we're doing. We might be doing a potpourri. Play for Patrick Positive Thursday. Brought to us by Schoonover Body Works and Auto Care. They're right there in Shoreview, 1060 County Road E. All things related to auto care can be had at Schoonover's. I'm thinking we might talk about Play for Patrick today because there's a screening coming up the end of April, but Mike is down at the Capitol discussing things heart-related. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Kenny. Hey, guys. How we doing?
We're doing great. What are you doing
Excellent.
down there?
Well, I'm with American Heart Association today. It's the day at the Capitol with that organization, so we are meeting with legislators to talk about the cardiac emergency response plan.
Okay. And?
Oh, you want to learn more?
Yeah.
Well,
Tell me more.
The reason that I wanted to talk about this today, besides the fact that I'm down here, is you know we have legislation both in the House and the Senate. There's a House file 1175 and the Senate file of 1457, which pretty much says that school districts have to have a cardiac emergency response plan. So that means elementary, middle school, and high school schools have to have that plan, not just high schools. And that means that they have to have a team of administrators, teachers, janitors, whoever on that team to be able to respond to a cardiac emergency. And then they're going to be putting up $2 million as appropriation. Sounds like there might be more money available so that we can buy AEDs for a lot of the schools. Now, us in the metro, we have it pretty easy, or we're fortunate. But outstate Minnesota, some of those schools are smaller. Those districts are smaller, and maybe they don't have the means to be able to buy all those AEDs or have a plan in place. So we're just working with everybody to try to figure out how we can get everybody to say why it won't work as opposed to why it will work.
Right.
Hey,
right.
can I chime in here a quick second? You were talking months earlier about the locations of AEDs in this building and the buildings where you work. I did a little research at the MSP airport and found out that the AEDs are most often located near a restroom. So if you're ever at the airport and you see someone in need, if you see a restroom sign, most likely there's going to be an AED attached to the wall.
And can anybody access those, Matthew?
On the secure side and the non-secure side, yes.
Oh, good. That's good to know.
The other piece of it is that not only are we going to try to, push to have them have a cardiac response, emergency response plan, but, there was a law passed a number of years ago that said as a graduation requirement, high school kids had to learn CPR before they graduated. But there was no penalties or no fines or there was no teeth to it. So some high schools might be teaching it, some might not be. But, we just need to get our society in tune with heart-related issues and understanding what sudden cardiac arrest is, in that it can happen to anybody, anytime, anywhere. And, anybody can save a life. And so that's what's so cool about these bills, is that we have bipartisan support in both the House and the Senate, and so it's just a matter of getting the fine details in there and getting this thing passed. But what I'm hoping that I could ask of the GLers is if you can contact your legislator and just let them know that you would like them to support the CERP bill, the Cardiac Emergency Response Plan bill. That would be great. So the more momentum we have, the better it's going to be.
Mike, when I was with Sun Country, I will say we had to be certified, and I went through that certification course. It was it was several hours, and I walked out of there so knowledgeable, and I thought, why doesn't everybody know how to do this? Take 4 hours out of your life, and then you'll feel comfortable around something if something were to happen like this.
Yeah, that's a great point, Rook. I mean, getting the certification is important, but just learning how to do CPR takes a matter of minutes. Whether you learn it at a Play for Patrick heart screening or get on the Google and find out, learning CPR near me, or just getting a group together, whether it be a team or a club or your neighborhood or whatever, have a party and invite American Heart or the fire department or somebody who can teach CPR, how to your group or organization and learn how to do it. Companies should be doing this because we got to be. I mean, companies should have an emergency response plan as well. We shouldn't just leave it for the public sector to be responsible for this. So I would urge every company out there, small businesses, large businesses, corporations, you name it, to have a cardiac emergency response plan, because it's so easy to save somebody's life.
Well, okay, and speaking of Play for Patrick, the next screening is coming up at the end of April. It's Saturday, April 26th, Cretin-Durham Hall, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Meanwhile, if you need anything related to your automobile, you can have it at Schoonover Body Works and Auto Care, the official body shop of Garage Logic, always rated as one of the top shops in the metro, SchoonoverBodyWorks.com.
Here is John Haidt.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
you.
you.
Take care. Have a good day.
Thank you, Joe. This news update is brought to you by North American Banking Company. I did look up, there is a Doge efficiency website, which does list some things of what they've found. So I stand corrected. There's a list of things. There's a lot of stuff, though, I wish, and they say they're going to update it. It's just, I guess, like you said, Joe, everything's going so fast.
Very fast.
There are a lot of payments, grants, real estate things, leases, where it just has a number with no explanation
Quickly.
of what happened. But there are payments. You okay, Joe?
Yep.
There are payments that are listed on the website. So just to note that, I guess. In news, well, let's start with sports for news. University of Minnesota Athletics Director Mark Coyle announced early this morning Ben Johnson has been fired after 4 seasons as head coach of the Gophers men's basketball team. The announcement made at 1 a.m. after a conversation between Coyle and Johnson when the team returned to campus from the Big Ten tournament in Indianapolis. A post on the Gopher Athletics website announcing Coyle's decision said a nationwide search will start immediately for the next basketball head coach. The Gophers lost to Northwestern on Wednesday in the first round of the Big Ten tournament, left them with a 15-17 record in Johnson's 4th year as head coach. Johnson's final overall record, 56-71 and 22-57 in Big Ten play. His teams did not appear in any NCAA tournaments, extending the program's drought to 6 seasons. Now, his contract does include a $2.9 million buyout clause. He signed a 1-year extension in June of 2022 after his first season as head coach. The extension stretched his initial deal through the 2027 season and paid Johnson $2 million each year.
Mark Coyle is an absolute gutless weenie.
I wouldn't necessarily say that.
Why is that?
Well, why?
Releasing a press release before the season is over at 1:25 in the morning or whatever Johnny just said.
Their season is over.
No, they still have a game, don't they?
No,
they got beat.
I thought they're in the Big Ten tournament.
They
just were eliminated yesterday.
Oh, geez, that's how much I'm paying attention
Would
to
you like
Gopher
to
basketball.
retract that
No, but he is. He's an absolute gutless
Well,
weenie.
no, he's not. I
He
mean,
doesn't.
what do you want?
He doesn't go on air with anybody. He does this crap. He cut half of the athletic department's budget because all he cared about was football. This kid had no shot. Meaning Ben Johnson.
I can arrange for you to take this up personally with Coyle.
Please.
All right.
I would absolutely love that.
All right.
Set him
What
up to
if,
be on the Weekly Scramble podcast. I'd love it.
What if they get invited to the NIT?
National champion. That's
Then
national
I
champion.
guess Ben would have to still be the coach.
Well, maybe not.
Ben might give him a giant go coach yourself.
All the way with the red hot poker.
In news, the woman accused of orchestrating that massive federal fraud scheme took the stand in her own defense in federal court again yesterday. Amy Bach founded the nonprofit Feeding Our Future, and federal prosecutors say she and her co-defendant Salim Saeed conspired to steal $250 million of taxpayer money from the child nutrition program. Well, on yesterday, she described how she investigated food sites she suspected of committing fraud, adding she terminated contracts with over 50 sites and 10 vendors.
They weren't making enough.
She detailed looking at suspicious invoices, asking for additional documents, and even conducting site visits on occasion. She said on the stand, quote, "I was honestly shocked and truthfully kind of annoyed." She told jurors that she also fired Hadith Ahmed after learning he had been paid $100,000 to $200,000 to help a site create fraudulent documents. On the stand again, she said, "Oh, I was mad. I'm still mad about that situation." Bach also broke down on the stand as jurors were shown photos taken when authorities executed a search warrant at her home. She said she had to sell her home and was evicted from her apartment, unable to pay rent. She now lives with her parents. Bach's former boyfriend, Empress Malcolm Watson Jr., was paid around $1 million total by Feeding Our Future, money that Bach said he earned as a contractor.
Of course he did. He's a very important cog in the wheel.
The jury was shown photos of lavish gifts that were bought for Bach by Watson. She is being self-examined. No, that's not what she's being. She's being cross-examined today by the prosecution. 3 teens are in custody after an assault on a student outside the High School for Recording Arts in St. Paul Wednesday afternoon. It happened around 4 in the afternoon. Officers called to the high school on a weapons complaint. When they were on their way, school staff told law enforcement a large group of people were chasing a student and assaulting him. Arriving officers saw several people assaulting the victim, a 19-year-old, in front of the school. The suspects ran away, according to police, but 3 teens were caught and arrested, an 18-year-old, 16-year-old, and 14-year-old, on suspicion of aggravated assault. Law enforcement found a gun in one of the juvenile suspects' backpacks. School officials told law enforcement the suspects are not students at the High School for Recording Arts. The victim was brought to Regents Hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. A man who was driving 3 times over the legal limit now has been charged following a crash this week that killed a woman in Anoka. 37-year-old Zachary Wydella was charged with 2 counts of criminal vehicular homicide. First responders called to a crash Monday night in the 1000 block of North Street. Authorities say Wydella was driving a minivan west on North Street when he crashed into a sedan headed east. Despite first aid, the driver of the sedan, 51-year-old Anne-Marie Moore, was declared dead at the scene. The complaint says officers noted the smell of alcohol on Wydella's breath at the scene and that his eyes were bloodshot and watery. Law enforcement added his speech was slurred and his movements were delayed. Court records say that a box of wine that was open and partially emptied was found underneath the passenger seat in Wydella's car. A cup that had wine in it appeared to have been spilled, was splattered. According to court documents, Wydella's blood alcohol content was 0.246.
I don't like wine out of a box. That
You've got to be very selective.
A member of the show used to.
That's right.
Actually, it's not too bad. Not
well,
too
for
bad
a
at all.
rube like you, I would imagine it would be a high
keep in
thrill.
mind, Joe. Keep in mind, Joe, that a lot of GLers are drinking wine from a box before you single out wine drinking.
No, I'm going to tell all my GLer friends that wine from a box is an odd concept.
In fact, I'm not going to out Angie personally, but we did have an outing one time in which both Latangela and a promotions member, Melly, removed the box of wine from the actual box and put it in her purse with a straw.
bladder.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. What's the why? Why is there wine in a box?
There's a bladder in it, and the
You
box
can get-
is just what you carry it in the house.
And you can get a little more.
It's got a little nozzle on
You
it.
get more wine out of it if it's a bigger box. But might I also point out, there's a lot of GLers also that drink wine right from the bottle. There's a select few.
Sure.
Out of the bottle. Interesting.
I know somebody that likes to put a couple of ice cubes in their glass of red wine.
Oh, that's disturbing.
I hope I never meet that person.
Yeah, me too.
Guy likes it chilled. What's the
I
problem?
think maybe you know him well.
Oh, okay. Hi.
From the Star Tribune, more than 2 years after getting their first tip about suspected sex trafficking at a downtown New Prague massage parlor, police have raided the business and arrested its owner on allegations of promoting prostitution. The police action occurred Monday night at 4U, that's the number 4 and the letter U, Massage. 4U Massage in the 800 block of First Street Southeast. Along with arresting the owner, a 49-year-old woman, police seized sheets, towels, and condoms they believe have physical evidence pointing to illicit sex. A woman was released from jail Wednesday pending further investigation without charges filed against her or any of her clients. A search warrant affidavit filed in court cleared the way for the police raid. It spells out how the investigation began in December 2022 and progressed until this week's raid. According to that filing, in December of 2022, a 34-year-old man told police he went to the parlor for a massage. The staff member signaled him non-verbally twice about her performing a sex act on him, which he declined. In July 2024, Fridley police shared with their counterparts in New Prague that sexually oriented ads for 4U Massage were posted online. In January and February, 3 men told police of women working at the parlor offering sex to them. One of the men said he has had sex at the parlor 3 or 4 times and also visited a massage parlor in New Ulm as well. The filing read, an employee told him they trade girls between the 2 parlors every 3 weeks.
May I jump in just for how uncomfortable after the, hey, I can do this for you, and like, nah, you know what, I'm good. How uncomfortable is the rest of that massage?
I'd rather read a book.
I'd just like to point out that one of us in the room drove by this place yesterday.
Oh,
where is this place?
It's right next to the Hy-Vee in New Prague, because that's my Hy-Vee.
It sounds like a Lee Lenore's, doesn't it?
I have
You have
no
your own
idea.
parking space out front, Chris?
Reserved for.
There's a lot of husbands in the area going,
Customer of the month.
Go get some groceries, honey.
Get your haircut right there. And
These aren't the kind of massages that your health insurance will pay for, are they?
I don't believe so.
I had a buddy in high school when Lee Lenore's was on Snelling.
We have to do
He
our-
would run in there and try to ask for a change for the bus, and just to see what happened. And they always turned him down.
I think at this point we're going to take a little break. Come back with some.
Her mother, the Joe Souchere Show.
You know what season it is?
'Tis the season.
It's springtime. That means it's time to get your drinking water system up to date. Because here's the deal. My friends at Hofferman Water in Connecticut are focusing on that throughout the entire month of March. Drinking water is key to a healthy life. And here's the deal. If you go with the benefit of, a whole home water treatment system for hard water, iron, and chlorine, having a fully third-party certified reverse osmosis system to take reduced contaminants that are commonly found in water in both city and municipal, and in addition to well water. Wow, that was a mouthful. That's what Hofferman Water and Connecticut is going to be able to do for you and your family. I had my system installed years ago. It's saved us so much money because we don't buy bottled water anymore. No, the kids use it every single day for school and for sports, and we use it every day as well. And you can check out my videos soon online, and you can also book your appointment at HoffermanWater.com or give them a call directly at 612-895-2440. Either way, you can get on that schedule and have them come up for that free water analysis. And when they do that, they're going to give you a water score and then give you some recommendations on how they can improve the quality of your water. Once again, 612-895-2440 or visit HoffermanWater.com. Hofferman Water has been proudly serving the state of Minnesota for over 50 years. Please do me a favor and mention that you heard about them on the Garage Logic podcast.
Rookie, before John begins, listen to this and do this assignment. Find out if May 7th, 1937 was a Friday.
Oh, my God, that's easy.
Well, I want you to, and I don't want you talking about it till I ask you. And then I want you to find out if April 19th, 1957.
Oh, my God. April what?
April 19th, 1957 was a Friday. So those two, I want to know if they're Fridays. John, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you. Tariff wars, back in the news again. I've been doing news for 50 years. I've done more tariff stories in the last 2 weeks than I've done in my entire
Probably
career.
ever, yeah.
President Trump this morning threatening a 200% tariff on European wine, champagne, and spirits if the European Union goes forward with a planned tariff on American whiskey. The European tariff, which was unveiled in response to steel and aluminum tariffs by the U.S. administration, is expected to go into effect April 1st, just ahead of separate reciprocal tariffs that Trump plans to place on the EU. But the president, in a morning social media post today, vowed a new escalation in the trade war if the EU goes forward with the 50% planned tariff on American whiskey. U.S. whiskey makers, meanwhile, are urging the president to broker a deal. Chris Swanger is president and CEO of the Distilled Spirits Council. He said in a statement, the U.S.-EU spirit sector is the model for fair and reciprocal trade, having zero-for-zero tariffs since 1997. We urge President Trump to secure a spirits agreement with the EU to get us back to those zero-for-zero tariffs.
Okay, were they Fridays?
May 7th, 37 was a Friday. April 19th, 1957.
7.
Well, hang on.
Oh, mother of God.
I went 37.
Oh,
John,
never mind. John, continue, please.
Does the tariff on wine include the wine in the box or
I
just
wonder,
the regular bottle?
do we get imported wine in the box?
I don't think so.
Got it.
Treasury Secretary Scott
Yes, it was a Friday.
It was a Friday.
Both dates.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said this morning the Trump administration is more focused on the long-term health of the economy and markets and not on short-term gyrations. Bessent said on CNBC's Squawk on the Street, we're focused on the real economy. Can we create an environment where there are long-term gains in the market and long-term gains for the American people? I'm not concerned about a little bit of volatility over 3 weeks. Those comments come with the markets in a state of turmoil, mostly centered on President Trump's near-daily moves on tariffs against major U.S. trading partners like Canada, Mexico, and China. Meanwhile, according to a new Reuters Ipsos poll, a majority of Americans think President Trump is being too erratic in his moves to shake the U.S. economy. Some 57% of respondents, including 1 in 3 Republicans, said the president's policies have been unsteady as his efforts to tax imports have set off a global trade war, according to the poll that closed on Wednesday. Speaking on the Senate floor, Senator Chuck Schumer, the Democratic minority's leader, said that Democrats will not provide the necessary votes to adopt the stopgap funding bill passed by House Republicans. The Senate rules mean that 60 votes are needed to move legislation forward. Republicans only have 53 seats, and only 52 votes, since Rand Paul says he is also opposed to the House bill. Schumer said funding the government should be a bipartisan effort, but he said Republicans chose a partisan path, drafting their continuing resolution without any input from congressional Democrats. Schumer called for a 1-month funding bill that provides more time to negotiate another deal. U.S. arms deliveries to Ukraine resumed yesterday, officials said, a day after the Trump administration lifted its suspension of military aid for Kyiv in its fight against Russia's invasion. And officials were awaiting the Kremlin's response to a proposed 30-day ceasefire endorsed by Ukraine. This morning, we're not really sure. Vladimir Putin saying he's agreeable with the idea of a ceasefire, but he says that a lot of other details would have to be dealt with and talked about before a ceasefire was put in place. Now to clear up a timeline that folks have been confusing apparently online. Before there was an agreement for a ceasefire between the U.S. and Ukraine, Ukraine sent a large fleet of drones into Russia. Remember this? 350 almost. We reported on that Tuesday morning right here on the Garage Logic program. Then after Ukraine and the U.S. reached their agreement, which does not involve Russia yet anyway, Russia sent that swarm of drones into Ukraine for an attack. We reported that on yesterday's Garage Logic program. So hopefully that clears up a few things. U.S. Department of Ag says each of the 6,000 probationary employees it had terminated since February 13th now has their job back. The department will place all terminated probationary employees in pay status and provide each with back pay from the date of the termination, according to USDA. The Merit Systems Protection Board, an independent federal court that focuses on government employee complaints, issued a stay order against the USDA on March 5. The board ordered the reinstatement of every position terminated within the department since February 13th to be reinstated for at least 45 days. Amazon MGM is developing a movie about Tiger Woods, based on Kevin Cook's book, The Tiger Slam, the inside story of the greatest golf ever played. The biographical drama will chart the rise of the child prodigy turned golf star. King Richard filmmaker Ronaldo Marcus Green is attached to direct. His life off the green, though rife with drama, reportedly will not be depicted in the movie. In 2009, of course, as we all know, Woods fell from grace after numerous extramarital affairs came to light. The production company for this film, Barack and Michelle Obama's company, Higher Ground.
Yeah.
I thought they were on the rocks.
He just ruptured his Achilles heel.
I saw that.
Obama?
No, Woods.
An American dog owner was shot by his pet after it jumped on the bed and set off a loaded gun. The man from Memphis, Tennessee, was asleep beside his female partner when he was shot early Monday morning, escaping with a graze to his left thigh that was treated in a hospital. The dog, a year-old pit bull named Oreo, got his paw stuck in the trigger guard and ended up hitting the trigger, according to the police incident. Did not specify the type of weapon fired and recorded the incident as an accidental injury. Local news station Fox 13 Memphis cited the Tennessee victim's girlfriend, who was not named, as saying she was sleeping when the gun went off. She said the dog is a playful dog and he likes to jump around, and the gun just went off. The dog shoots man story has happened before. In fact, I think we talked about one of these. 2 years ago, a German Shepherd dog shot and killed a 30-year-old man in Kansas after it stepped on his hunting rifle. I think we talked about that.
You get a lot of dogs shooting people. You can get 2 or 3 of those
I'm not
a
for
year.
dogs shooting people.
Sounds like a Far Side comic.
It really does.
Right.
It does.
So, did you say that was a pit bull, John?
That was a pit bull, a 1-year-old pit bull.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think he was quoted saying, "Who shot my paw?"
That's right.
Ooh.
Boy, oh boy.
You go home right now.
No,
Hey,
I
you-
like Chris. I like that one.
Go in the
Thank you.
corner.
Master,
You have
go
the
home.
next 2 days off.
Yes, it worked.
Suspended. And a Pennsylvania man was caught with a turtle hidden in his pants.
Well, it might be that guy from Oregon.
I like turtles.
Them turtle, the mental health worker in Oregon.
This was at a Newark Liberty International Airport security checkpoint last week. When the man walked through a scanner on Friday, it triggered an alarm in the area of his groin, and he was stopped by Transportation Security Administration. TSA officer patted the man down and felt something and asked the man if he had something hidden. The man then reached down the front of his pants and pulled out a live 5-inch turtle that was wrapped in a small blue towel.
What's the point?
Well, the man told security that the reptile was a red-eared slider turtle. The agency would not respond, Rook, to questions about whether or not the man explained why he had the turtle down his pants. Port Authority police questioned the man and took the turtle. They said they planned to contact the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. The man missed his flight, was escorted out of the checkpoint. It was unclear whether he would be facing any charges. Spokesperson for the office said they could not comment. They said, we've seen travelers try to conceal knives and other weapons on their person, in their shoes, and in their luggage. However, I believe this would be the first time we've ever had somebody who had a live animal concealed down to the front of his pants.
Rook, I can answer your question. He had the turtle down the front of his pants because there were no more appointments at that massage parlor in New Prague.
Got it.
This gives a whole new meaning to the phrase, I've got a turtle head.
I like turtles.
The news is often the accumulation of weird things that happen to people.
Yeah.
There you go, sport.
Yeah.
You're right on top of it today.
Do you have somebody write that?
Let me
for you,
wrat
kiddo,
that
or
down.
hang
Hang that up in my bulletin
Kids
board
gather
here.
around. Uncle Joe's got some advice.
Time for a
Often what you
broadcast
have
lessons, kiddo.
An assembly of these oddities. Say, get ready to ride into spring with a brand new helmet. There's a helmet sale at EcoFun Motorsports. I highly recommend a helmet. I told you before, I knew a motorcyclist who didn't wear a helmet, but on a bike he did, because I don't know why. Anyway, they've got EcoFun's the electric bike capital of the world. It's in Forest Lake / Columbus on Highway 97, immediately west of 35. If you have winter storage with EcoFun, get ready to schedule your pickup or delivery from EcoFun. I have to do that. And if you've not been in the store, do yourself a favor. This weather is turning. It's the electric bike capital of the world. Motorcycles, 4x4s, youth recreational equipment, scooters, helmets, apparel, great service. Really, really a fun store. Generators. They probably still have some Yamaha generators.
I bet they do.
And we're probably going to be ruining the day when we don't own one sometime. Also, EcoFun Motorsports in Burnsville on the service road of life near County Road 42. Really, really fun store with a great parking lot for test driving that electric bike. You don't need to leave there with an ill-fitting bike. EcoFunMotorsports.com.
Used to hide in the bathroom at my first job.
This guy wears many hats, just not indoors. Joe Souchere.
Don't forget, tomorrow we announce the GLer of the week. Find out more and sign up right now and upgrade that town council membership at GarageLogic.com.
I have an announcement to make. Yesterday at 6 p.m., the best Krabby Coffee Shop show I have ever done, and probably the most fun I've ever had on the air in my entire career.
What have you
was
done, about
released.
6 of them?
Mishki was our guest on the Krabby Coffee Shop, and he was fantastic. So look for
she
that.
Posted now?
Yes.
Yeah, so look for that on the Garage Logic Network.
Hail the Flashlight King.
Hail you.
Back to Tesla. All this discussion about Teslas, love them or hate them, I still can't get over the price point. I believe the break even on fuel savings to offset upfront costs is around 5 to 6 years. This guy's got an interesting point. Well, these things are so electronic and packed with class-leading technology and stuff, it's going to be obsolete before 5 or 6 years is up. That's a great point I never thought of. Okay. I'm sure Garofalo would defend that 15-year-old electric piece of crap he's driving. But that's a good point. This is from Jesse. He said, I can't wait for a revolutionary car maker to come to terms with the idea that a large amount of the population just wants to get from A to B as cheaply, safely, and reliable as possible. Fuel is the answer to that as of now, and I'd love to see a car maker crack out a ton of bare-bones vehicles to do it. No smart nonsense other than an AM/FM radio with a USB jack so we can listen to the podcast. manual windows, manual seats, dumb headlights you can change by yourself in the Walmart parking lot after paying $20 for a pair of bulbs. Room in the engine bay to reach the spark plugs with a standard ratchet and without breaking 5 of the 16 plastic pins while removing 4 pieces of plastic cladding. And for Kenny, an air compressor hookup on the backside of the engine air filter case. You don't even have to take it out to blow off the leaves, dust, and wasps. Just hook up the air hose, open the top lid, and give her a blast. Out the door for $10,000.
Well,
I'm sure that price is crazy, unrealistic given all the safety and authorization costs probably needed, but I bet they'd sell like hotcakes.
Did he say $10,000?
Yeah. It's been tried. I mean, we've been through many periods in automobile manufacturing where the consumer was offered just the bare bones, the Pinto, the Chevrolet Vega, the some Chrysler products, and they ultimately fail. The little Fiat that came over here that I thought for sure people would buy didn't make it.
Can you even get a decent used car for under $10,000 now?
Well, Jesse's talking about very bare bones.
I get that, but I guess the price point is what kind of stands out to me.
I wonder if there aren't some that are really close to that with work vans or cargo vans and work trucks, just single cab, bench seat.
But that wouldn't meet the size of what he's looking for. I know exactly what he's talking about. He wants a little vehicle that's just bare bones. And they are they out there? What's the smallest Ford made right now? I don't even know.
I couldn't tell you.
What's the smallest Chevrolet?
Escape? The
Probably
Focus?
something that's an EV. No, there used to be something called a Chevrolet Spark. John, will you see if that still exists? The Chevrolet, I think it was called a Spark.
The Trax?
Trax, Spark, whatever. Very bare bones.
Subcompact that they reintroduced in 2024.
The Spark?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's...
No, the Trax. The Trax.
Trax, I don't know.
The smallest road legal car currently in production is the Peel P50, a 3-wheeled microcar known for its tiny size.
The Spark has been discontinued.
The Spark was discontinued.
2022.
Okay. That was a bare bones vehicle.
The Mini Cooper at 12 feet and 7 inches in 2025 is the smallest vehicle. Mazda Miata at 12 feet 8 inches. The Hyundai Venue at 13 feet 3 inches.
Joe, some of those Mini Coopers have turbos in them, and they're the funnest cars in the world, according to the owners.
With buckboard suspension.
Yeah.
Volkswagen Golf.
Ford Fiesta.
I think you'd
looks like
love
Ford
one, Joe.
smallest is a Fiesta.
Do you guys remember the 3-wheeler that Clarkson drove?
Yes.
Yeah.
He tipped it over.
Fantastic.
It was wonderful. Wonderful
Oh, God, it was
segment. Say, only because they come to us all the way from Mpumalanga Province, South Africa, and Marloth Park, the home of the traveling Lymans. We didn't do bleep on this day.
Okay.
This day.
On March 13th.
Did one thing in 1858.
What was that, Joe?
Kennebec. It's Kennebec County.
Kennebec.
Are you asking or
Kennebec.
telling?
That county was formed out of Pine
There
County.
you go. That's the way to do it. That's what I did in school.
That county is an approximation of Ginbig. I'm reading from the wrong sheet. Just a minute.
Turn page here.
The Ojibwe word for snake. The Snake River flows through Kennebec County. I have a mental block. Do you know, well, and we have this too, the sports disappointment history. On this day,
On March 13th.
in 1985, Ron Davis gave up a 2-run home run to Mattingly in the top of the 9th. 5th game in a row with a 9th inning home run.
What was it time to do?
Throw in the Davis.
Yep.
Would this have been spring training?
Yes, I would imagine so.
Why would we consider that sports disappointment in spring training?
I just read what's sent
Davis
to me.
related.
Got it.
Time to throw in
I
the
got
Davis.
another one for you.
All right.
On this day,
On March 13th.
in 2014, The Wild lost to the Blackhawks in the second round, 4-2.
I remember that game.
2014.
I remember even what you said about that series. You said the Blackhawks were skating around the Wild like they were stationary.
I did?
Yeah.
Wonder why the Wild didn't have a good performance.
Well, that's the year that didn't the Hawk win the cup?
You know, they might have won a cup that year. No, we're not done with this day in history because the other day we mentioned that Wanda Gag had a day in history, right?
She was high school girlfriend.
She was known for her children's book Millions of Cats, right? I don't know how this woman got famous for a book about that, much less I don't know why she made this day in history. But did you know that you can visit the Wanda Gag House Interpretive Center and Museum?
Come on.
Wow. Oh, why? This is you can get there.
Can you get a massage there?
This is the childhood home of the acclaimed artist, illustrator, and author Wanda Gag.
You got to go to the basement, though.
Known for the classic children's book Millions of Cats. You can explore the beautifully restored Queen Anne-style house built in 1894 where Wanda's artistic journey began.
Here's the Gag viewing room.
Not that this ever phrase has been used, but you know what you do there? Step back in time. Sure. It's a 2.5-story house, and you can discover the creative world of the Gag family. And you can visit the attic.
Do you think that's a booming business?
She worked in the attic. I'm reading this. She worked in the attic and had skylights. And it had open turrets that inspired Wanda Gag's imagination.
And she inspired.
No, we're not done. Imagine yourself.
Are you doing a live ad?
He's
doing a cold read.
You know what? I think maybe I'm going to go.
Where's she
It's
at? Down
New
in
Ulm. New Ulm. Self-guided tours, docent-led, and group or educational tours are
We can't
available.
get you to go to the Henderson Car Show, but you're going to go to this ding-ding museum.
You know, I'm glad that you pointed out that it was a self-guided tour. The fact that they don't have a large staff to walk you around and show you.
You can. If I went, I would opt for the docent-led tour because then you would learn something. What would I know just picking through the rubble by
Folks,
myself?
stay back here. Keep the line back. We gotta.
Could I interrupt you about something else?
Uh-oh.
Are you going to correct something now and make us feel bad?
Yes, the sports thing. That Ron Davis home run to Mattingly.
Yeah.
That was on May 13th, 1985.
Well, I thought that was odd.
Not March 13th.
Like, why would we highlight something?
We
from
all
a
should have
spring
caught
training?
that.
I did. I said, why would they have highlighted something?
Is somebody
in spring
talking
training?
now?
Jesus.
The Wanda Gag House is
Anyway.
at 226 North Washington Street in New Ulm.
Okay.
They got a website and a phone number I can call?
Absolutely. WandaGagHouse.org.
Yeah, I was wondering if I could get time in the family.
And there's no price on here, I don't think. I don't know.
There is
Apple
no
parking,
price.
senior discount.
I don't know what it cost. Oh, I'm sorry, there is a price.
Can you get a lunch?
It's the
Two for Tuesdays.
It's a suggested donation, $5.
If you go to the website for the Wanda Gag House, there is a video from a local TV station that takes you on a short tour.
You know what?
Really?
That'll suffice.
And there's a shop. If I go, I'll get you all, guys. I'll get you all something from the shop.
Please.
Like a shop towel or something.
Yeah, the Wanda Gag bookmark or something.
Oh, a shop to buy stuff.
Yeah.
I thought you meant a shop out back.
No,
you worked in the Model A.
for knickknacks and
Gotcha.
tchotchke and
Kenny, you
doodads.
could put your Wanda Gag shop towel next to your I Love Beaver coffee mug I got you in Utah.
I just don't know how all of this could have come from a book called Millions of Cats.
Life's a mystery, huh, Joe?
It really is. I've never heard of that book. But Wanda Gag comes up every year on this day of history.
The house is amazing. You have to look at a picture. It's got the turret, the old turret.
I bet
kind of
it's a
thing.
beauty.
Oh, man, it's gorgeous.
I'm down that way.
Okay. When's the
Yeah.
last time you were ever in
Make
New
it down
Ulm?
that way.
Too
I
bad
get-
that book you wrote about fixing bicycles didn't do a little better.
Yeah.
You could have your own turret.
That'd be gravy.
Okay, if I'm ever down that way, I got to remember this: 226 North Washington Street. Although it's New Ulm, how hard could it be to find a house with a turret?
Right there on Main.
It's probably on Main, which is Washington Street, maybe. So I just wanted, when I see things that relate to this day in history, I feel I owe it to you to bring it forward. And here enough, just the other day we had Wanda Gag, and here is her Wanda Gag house.
We appreciate that about you, Joe.
Thank you.
Did
I
you
think
say
Jordy
this,
sent
Joe?
me this.
I know you love books. Maybe you said this and I missed it. The book has never been out of print and is the oldest American picture book still in print.
Really?
Yep.
And it's just nothing but cats.
I guess.
Is there a story with it?
Initiated a double-page spread designing two facing pages as a panoramic scene. So it's one of those apparently you.
Well, does it have a plot? I think to
I
get
don't
your
know.
own house on a tour, you got to have a plot. Picture book
I
doesn't
wonder
do
if the
it.
house stinks of cat pee.
Could.
I would like to stick around for the end of the show, but I'm going to be like everybody else on YouTube, just bailing out.
Yeah.
Right now. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and go back to the airport.
Speaking of YouTube, hit the subscribe button on the Garage Logic YouTube channel. Yeah, Garage Logic's got it.
Quebec, Candy Ojai, Kitson, and Couchiching are your
There you
K
go.
counties.
And you can hit that subscribe button and join the thousands of people that bailed on the show right at the end and see behind the scenes footage, full segments, video shorts, and watch the show at noon every single day. Yeah, it's all there for you on the Garage Logic YouTube channel. And follow us along on all of our social media channels, which includes Facebook, Instagram, and X. And sign up for the Daily Logician. It's an email, and it comes right to your inbox each and every single day. And it includes the most recent episode of the podcast. It's all there for you. Sign up now at garagelogic.com.